Good evening, friends, Pinvatuni. Welcome to our online broadcast here from the London Mindfulness Meditation Center. We go live at 7 o'clock and share our religious observance, enabling you to participate in the observance from wherever you are, and especially today is the full moon day, and today is also when our rains retreat terminate. So from tomorrow onwards is the month for Kathina, or robe offering ceremony, and our robe offering ceremony is scheduled for the 24th of October 2020 on Saturday, and we hope to hold a virtual ceremony as well, as we are sharing our religious observance now. So 3 months rains retreat is coming to an end. So today the sponsorship is made by Mr. Dinesh Rambukan and family, and their intention is to bless both families, Mr. and Mrs. Rambukan, so both families. May they stay safe, may they be happy, may they have peace of mind, and especially may they receive the blessings of the Triple Gem to develop courage and determination to face the difficult situation. May the children's education be successful, may they also have a bright future. May all merit accumulated be conducive for their well-being and even contribute to their righteous aspirations or fulfill their righteous aspirations. So they'd also like to bless you as an online community. May you also be well, happy and peaceful. May you be blessed by the Triple Gem. May the blessings be conducive for your well-being. May you stay safe, and may you be healthy and enjoy good health and peace of mind. So please bear those thoughts in your mind. With those righteous aspirations, we can participate in this religious observance. Today being Thursday, we hold our weekly meditation session, practicing and to develop mindfulness. So soon after our chanting, we will begin that session, and then again we will continue with our meditation loving kindness from tomorrow onwards. So first, to observe 5 precepts before worship, please say Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa 3 times. Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Saṅghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dutiyampi buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dutiyampi dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dutiyampi saṅghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tatiyampi buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tatiyampi dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tatiyampi saṅghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Pānātipātā vīramani sikkhapadang samādhiyāmi, අදින්නාදානා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි. කාමේසු මිච්ඡාචාරා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි. මුසාවාදා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි. සුරාමේරය මජ්ජපමා දට්ඨානා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි. තිසරණේන සද්ධෙන් පංචශීලං ධම්මං අප්පමාදේන සම්පාදේතබ්බං. So let's worship the Buddha now. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Iti piso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho vijjācarana sampanno sugato lokavidu anuttaro purisa dhammasarathi sattā deva manussanam buddho bhagavati. Buddhaṃ jīvita pariyantaṃ saranam gacchāmi. Ye ca buddhā atītā ca ye ca buddhā anāgatā paccuppanā ca ye buddhā ahaṃ vandāmi sabbadā. Natti me saranam aññam buddho me saranam varam. Etena sacca vajjena hotu me jaya mangalam. Uttamangena vandeham padapam savaruttamam. Buddheyo kalito doso buddho kamatu tang mamang. Swakhato bhagavata dhammo sanditthiko akaliko. Ehi passiko opanayiko paccattam veditabbo viññohiti. Dhammang jīvita pariyantaṃ saranam gacchāmi. Ye ca dhamma atītā ca ye ca dhamma anāgatā paccuppanā ca ye dhamma ahaṃ vandāmi sabbadā. Natti me saranam aññam dhammo me saranam varam. Etena sacca vajjena hotu me jaya mangalam. Uttamangena vandeham dhammam ca tividham varam. Tammeyo kalito doso dhammo kamatu tang mamang. Supatipanno bhagavato sāvaka sangho. Ujjupatipanno bhagavato sāvaka sangho. Nyāyapatipanno bhagavato sāvaka sangho. සාමීචි පටිපන්නෝ භගවතෝ සාවක සංඝෝ යදිදං චත්තාරි පුරිස යුගානි අට්ඨ පුරිස පුග්ගලා ඒස භගවතෝ සාවක සංඝෝ ආහුනේයෝ පාහුනේයෝ දක්ඛිනේයෝ අංජලි කරණීයෝ අනුත්තරං පුඤ්ඤක්ඛෙත්තං ලෝකස්සාති සංඝං ජීවිත පරියන්තං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි යේච සංඝාතීතාච යේච සංඝා අනාගතා පච්චප්පන්නාච යේ සංඝා අහං වන්දාමි සබ්බදා නත්ථි මේ සරණං අඤ්ඤං සංඝෝ මේ සරණං වරං ඒතේන සච්ච වජ්ජේන හෝතු මේ ජය මංගලං උත්තමංගේන වන්දේහං සංඝං ච ත්‍රිවිධෝත්තමං සංඝේයෝ කලිතෝ දෝසෝ සංඝෝ කමතු තං මමං කනසාරප්පදිත්තේන දීපේන තමදං සිනා තිලෝක දීපං සම්බුද්ධං පූජයාමි තමෝනුදං වන්නගන්ධ ගුණපේතං ඒතං කුසුම සන්තතින් පූජයාමි මුනින්දස්ස සිරිපාද සරෝරුහේ පූජේමි බුද්ධං කුසුමේන නේන පුඤ්ඤේන මේතේන ච හෝතු මොක්ඛං පුප්පං මිලායාති යතයි ධම්මේ කායෝ තථායාති විනාශ භාවං අධිවාසේතුනෝ භන්තේ පානීයං පරිකප්පිතං අනුකම්පං උපාදාය පතිගන්හාතු උත්තම අධිවාසේතුනෝ භන්තේ ගිලාන පච්චයං ඉමං අනුකම්පං උපාදාය පතිගන්හාතු උත්තම අධිවාසේතුනෝ භන්තේ බේසජ්ජං පරිකප්පිතං අනුකම්පං උපාදාය පතිගන්හාතු උත්තම අධිවාසේතුනෝ භන්තේ සම්බං සද්ධාය පූජිතං අනුකම්පං උපාදාය පතිගන්හාතු උත්තම වන්දාමි චේතියං සම්බං සබ්බඨානේ සුපතිට්ඨිතං සාරීරික ධාතු මහා බෝධින් බුද්ධ රූපං සකලං සදා යස්ස මූලේ නිසින්නෝව සම්බාරි විජයං අකා පත්තෝ සබ්බඤ්ඤුතං සද්දා වන්දේ තං බෝධිපාදපං ඉමේ ඒතේ මහා බෝධි ලෝකනාථේන පූජිතා අහම්පිතේ නමස්සාමි බෝධි රාජා නමත්තුතේ කායේන වාචා චිත්තේන පමාදේන මයා කතං අච්චයං කමමේ භන්තේ පුරිපඤ්ඤේ තථාගත කායේන වාචා චිත්තේන පමාදේන මයා කතං අච්චයං කමමේ ධම්ම සන්දිට්ඨික කාලික Kayena vacha cittena pamadena maya katang Acchayang kamame sangha supatipanna anuttara Ettavata ca amhehi sambhatang punya sampadang Sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya Ettavata ca amhehi sambhatang punya sampadang Sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya Ettavata ca amhehi sambhatang punya sampadang Sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya Idammi ñātīnaṁ hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo Idammi ñātīnaṁ hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo Idammi ñātīnaṁ hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo Imina punya kammene mami bala samagamo Satang samagamo hotu yava nibbāna pattiya Idammi punyang asavakkaya vahang hotu Samba dukkha pamuncatu Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu So that is the end of our evening worship. So now we are going to chant as usual Ratana Paritta, Ratana Sutta, especially during this pandemic and times of difficulty. May you stay safe, may you be happy, and may you develop peace of mind. So may the blessings of the Noble Triple Gem that are included in this discourse be conducive for your well-being, complete well-being. May all your righteous aspirations be fulfilled. If you have any family or friends who are ill, do bring them to your thoughts when you listen to the chanting and bless them speedy recovery. As the intentions of the sponsors, Mr. Dinesh Rambukan and family, who would like to bless their family and children, so family on both parties, may they all enjoy good health and happiness. May they also stay safe and continue to enjoy happiness and peace of mind. May all their righteous aspirations also be fulfilled. May the education of their children also be successful, and may they also have a pleasant and high future, a successful future. As always, we dedicate the chanting to the well-being of all key workers who serve the nation and worldwide. May the key workers, including NHS staff, doctors and nurses, enjoy good health and happiness. May they also develop courage and determination to continue the valuable services they are doing, looking after patients and families. So with all those kind and righteous intentions, we begin our chanting of Ratana Sutta. Please listen to the chanting with great attention and respect. May at the end of every verse of where the virtues of the Triple Gem are mentioned, we make a determination, we make an aspiration. Etena Satchena Suvattihotu. May the truth embedded in, or may the compassion of the Buddha be conducive for your well-being. So we are chanting with great respect and great kindness. So please listen to the chanting, and if you have any aspirations, may they be fulfilled. Samanta Cakkavalesu Atra Gacchantu Devata Saddhammang Munirajassa Sunantu Sagga Mokkadang Parittasavana Kalu Ayang Bhadanta Parittasavana Kalu Ayang Bhadanta Paritta Dhamma Savana Kalu Ayang Bhadanta නමෝ තස්ස භගවතු අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස නමෝ තස්ස භගවතු අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස නමෝ තස්ස භගවතු අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස යානි දභූතානි සමාගතානි බුම්මානි වායානි වයන්තලික්ඛේ සම්බේව භූතා සමනා භවන්තු අතෝපි සක්කච්ච සුනන්තු භාසිතං තස්මාහි භූතානි සාමේත සබ්බේ මෙත්තං කරෝත මානුසියාපජාය දිවාච රත්තෝ ච හරන්ති ඒ බලින් තස්මාහි නිරක්ඛත අප්පමත්තා යං කිංච විත්තං ඉදවා හුරං වා සග්ගේසු වායං රතනං පනීතං නනෝ සමං අත්ථි තථාගතේන ඉදම්පි බුද්ධේ රතනං පනීතං ඒතේන සච්චේන සුවත්ති හෝතු khayang viragang amatang panitang yadajjaga sakya muni samahito natena dhammena samatte kinchi idampi dhamme ratanang panitang etena saccena suvatti hotu yang buddha settho parivannai sucing samadhimanantarikanyamahu සමාධිනාතේන සමෝන විජ්ජති ඉදම්පි ධම්මේ රතනං පනීතං ඒතේන සච්චේන සුවත්ති හෝතු යේ පුග්ගලා අට්ඨ සතං පසත්තා චත්තාරි ඒතානි යුගානි හොන්ති තේ දක්ඛිනේයා සුගතස්ස ශාවකා ඒතේසු දින්නානි මහප්ඵලානි ඉදම්පි සංඝේ රතනං පනීතං ඒතේන සච්චේන සුවත්ති හෝතු යේසුප්පයුත්තා මනසා දල්හේන නික්ඛාමිනෝ ගෝතම සාසනම්හි තේ පත්තිපත්තා අමතං විගයිහ ලද්දා මුදා නිබ්බතින් බුඤ්ජමානා ඉදම්පි සංඝේ රතනං පනීතං ඒතේන සච්චේන සුවත්ති හෝතු යතින්ද කීලෝ පඨවින් සිතෝසියා චතුබ්බි වාතේභි අසම්පකම්පියෝ තතුපමං සප්පුරිසං වදාමි යෝ අරිය සච්චානි අවෙච්ච පස්සති ඉදම්පි සංඝේ රතනං පනීතං ඒතේන සච්චේන සුවත්ති හෝතු යේ අරිය සච්චානි විභාවයන්ති ගම්භීර පඤ්ඤේන සුදේසිතානි කිංචාපිතේ හොන්ති බුසප්පමත්තා නතේ භවං අට්ඨමං ආදියන්ති ඉදම්පි සංඝේ රතනං පනීතං ඒතේන සච්චේන සුවත්ති හෝතු සහවස්ස දස්සන සම්පදාය තයස්සු ධම්මා ජහිතා භවන්ති සක්කාය දිට්ඨි විචිකිච්ඡිතං ච සීලබ්බතං වාපි යදත්ති කිංචි චතුහ පායේහි ච විප්පමුත්තෝ චචාබිඨානානි අබබ්බෝ කාතුං ඉදම්පි සංඝේ රතනං පනීතං ඒතේන සච්චේන සුවත්ති හෝතු කිංචාපි සෝකම්මං කරෝති පාපකං කායේන වාචා උදචේතසාවා අභබ්බෝ සෝතස්ස පටිච්චාදාය අභබ්බතා දිට්ඨ පදස්ස වුත්තා ඉදම්පි සංඝේ රතනං පනීතං ඒතේන සච්චේන සුවත්ති හෝතු වනප්පගුම්බේ යතා පුස්සිතග්ගේ ගිම්හාන මාසේ පඨමස්මින් ගිම්හේ තතුපමං ධම්ම වරං අදේසයි නිබ්බානගාමින් පරමං හිතාය ඉදම්පි බුද්ධේ රතනං පනීතං ඒතේන සච්චේන සුවත්ති හෝතු වරෝ වරඤ්ඤ වරදෝ වරාහරෝ අනුත්තරෝ ධම්ම වරං අදේසයි ඉදම්පි බුද්ධේ රතනං පනීතං ඒතේන සච්චේන සුවත්ති හෝතු කීනං පුරාණං නවං නත්ති සම්භවං විරත්ත චිත්ත ආයතිකේ භවස්මින් තේකීන බීජා අවිරුල්හිච්ඡන්දා නිබ්බන්ති ධීරායතායං පදීපෝ ඉදම්පි සංඝේ රතනං පනීතං ඒතේන සච්චේන සුවත්ති හෝතු යානීද භූතානි සමාගතානි බොම්මානි වායානි වයන්තලික්ඛේ තථාගතං දේව මනුස්ස පූජිතං බුද්ධං නමස්සාම සුවති හෝතු යානීද භූතානි සමාගතානි බුම්මානි වායානි වයන්තලික්ඛේ තථාගතං දේව මනුස්ස පූජිතං ධම්මං නමස්සාම සුවති හෝතු යානීද භූතානි සමාගතානි බුම්මානි වායානි වයන්තලික්ඛේ තථාගතං දේව මනුස්ස පූජිතං සංඝං නමස්සාම සුවති හෝතු ඒතේන සච්ච වජ්ජේන දුක්ඛා උපසමෙන්තු තේ ඒතේන සච්ච වජ්ජේන භයාවුපසමෙන්තු තේ ඒතේන සච්ච වජ්ජේන රෝගාවුපසමෙන්තු තේ සිරිදිති මති තේජෝ ජය සිද්ධි මහිද්දි මහා ගුණං අපරිමිත පුඤ්ඤාදිකාරස්ස සබ්බන්තරාය නිවාරණ සමත්තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස ද්වත්තිං සමහා පුරිස ලක්ඛනානුභාවේන අසීත්‍යනෝ ව්‍යංජන ලක්ඛනානුභාවේන අට්ඨුත්තර සත මංගල ලක්ඛනානුභාවේන සබ්බන්නරං ස්යානුභාවේන කේතුමාලානුභාවේන දසපාරමිතානුභාවේන දස උපපාරමිතානුභාවේන දස පරමත්ත පාරමිතානුභාවේන සීල සමාධි පඤ්ඤානුභාවේන බුද්ධානුභාවේන ධම්මානුභාවේන සංඝානුභාවේන තේජානුභාවේන ඉද්ධානුභාවේන බලානුභාවේන ඤෙය්‍ය ධම්මානුභාවේන චතුරාසීති සහස්ස ධම්මක්ඛන්ධානුභාවේන නවලෝකුත්තර ධම්මානුභාවේන අට්ඨංගික මග්ගානුභාවේන අට්ඨ සමාපත්ත්‍යානුභාවේන චලවිඤ්ඤානුභාවේන මෙත්තා කරුණා මුදිතා උපේක්ඛානුභාවේන සම්බ පාරමිතානුභාවේන රතනත්‍රය සරණානුභාවේන ත්‍විහං සබ්බ රෝග ශෝක උපද්දව දුක්ඛ දෝමනස්සු පායාසා විනස්සන්තු සබ්බ සංකප්පා ත්‍විහං සමිජ්ජන්තු දීඝායුකෝ හෝතු සතවස්ස ජීවේන සමංගිකෝ හෝතු සබ්බදා ආකාශ පම්බත වන භූමි තටාක ගංගා මහා සමුද්ද ආරක්කක දේවතා සදා තුම්හේ අනුරක්ඛන්තු සම්බ බුද්ධානුභාවේන සබ්බ ධම්මානුභාවේන සබ්බ සංඝානුභාවේන බුද්ධ රතනං ධම්ම රතනං සංඝ රතනං තින්නං රතනානං ආනුභාවේන Chaturasiti sahassa dhammakkandhanubhavene Pitakattayānubhavene jinasāvakānubhavene Sabbe te roga, sabbe te bhaya, sabbe te antaraya Sabbe te upaddava, sabbe te dunnimitta Sabbe te avamangala vinassantu Ayu vaddhako, dhana vaddhako, siri vaddhako, yasa vaddhako Balavaddhako, vannavaddhako, sukhavaddhako hotu sabbada Dukkha roga bhaya vera soka sabbe paddava Aneka antaraya pi vinassantu ca tejasa Jaya siddhi dhanang labhang sati bhagyang sukhang balang Siriyayu ca vanno ca bhogang buddhi ca yasava Satavassa ca ayu ca jiva siddhi bhavantu te Akasattha ca bhummattha devānaga mahiddhika puññantang anumoditva cirang rakkantu loka sāsanang Akasattha ca bhummattha devānaga mahiddhika puññantang anumoditva cirang rakkantu dhamma desanang Akasattha ca bhummattha devānaga mahiddhika puññantang anumoditva Cirang rakkantu mang paranti sadhu sadhu sadhu. So in a few moments we will be holding our weekly meditation session on developing mindfulness. So we will take a short break, but before we go, we will dedicate the merit accumulated today as the wishes of the sponsors, Mr. Dinesh and Mr. Dinesh Rambukan and family, along with their children, would like to bless everyone in their family on both parties. May they enjoy good health, happiness, peace, and full and success. May they also stay safe, especially during this time of difficulty and pandemic. So the intention is all not just to bless their own families, but also to you as an online community. May you be blessed by the Noble Triple Gem. May all merit accumulated today are shared with you for your well-being. May you develop peace of mind. May you develop happiness. May you also stay safe. May the blessings of the Triple Gem be there for your protection. And may you also be able to fulfill your righteous aspirations by developing courage and determination. So may you all be well, happy and peaceful. We will say sadhu 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So we will take a very short break and then I will see you in a minute or so. So stay tuned. Thank you for joining with us so far. Welcome back, friends. So you're now tuned to our weekly session here at the London Mindfulness Meditation Center. Before lockdown, we used to hold adult session on Thursdays, and we continue to do ever since we've gone online as well. So this evening, we just help you, support you with your meditation practice, simply to practice perhaps either weekly or even to refresh your practice or your understanding and gradually perhaps encourage you to practice every day at least a few moments. So mindfulness is quite a buzzing word nowadays. It has gone to every sectors, and it has been practiced because it simply helps us to not just cope with things but also to de-stress and also manage ourselves. I am using the word manage ourselves. It helps us to manage our day-to-day activities with ease. So therefore, to learn how to manage, then you need to learn how to identify and know the way the mind functions so that you are able to be with your experience every moment in your life. The moment we fail to manage ourselves, the moment we fail to recognize, and perhaps the moment we fail to be in the present moment, we get caught up. We get caught up in such a way that we forget ourselves, perhaps where we are, what we are doing, and we actually get involved with the things that we encounter. So we have to be able to develop a skill. So in Buddhism we use the word mindfulness as called sati. It is quite different to the word concentration, which is ekakata or samadhi. So the concentration level is a very good skill that you develop, but when you lose practice you might slowly obviously fail to continue, or it takes time to develop to the next stage. So it is staggered in stages, and obviously you can think of the word jhanas, you go step by step, step by step, step by step. But if you look at the word ekagata, it is about that one-pointedness. So we try to develop that as well, because that is the only way perhaps we can understand how the mind functions, giving a mind a job to do. And therefore, from that point of view, we then slowly develop the understanding or the contemplation on the state of mind, which is one of the satipatthana, establishing mindfulness. So we can establish mindfulness in a couple of ways. So a couple of ways. Establish mindfulness in the body, in the sensation, in the mind, and in the nature. So 4 things. Kayanupassana, in the body, contemplate the state of mind according to the body, or as it happens when it is linked with the body, when it is linked with the sensation, when it is linked with the mind in itself in terms of thought processes, and when it is linked in the flux or perhaps the change or even the cessation of certain things. So it is about the Dhamma, the nature. So when we try to understand this through contemplation, so we need to be aware, we need to be mindful, we need to have established ourselves in the mindful stage. So like last time, I want to perhaps refer to a stanza which has been sort of I've been contemplating on for a while. It's the first stanza in the Dhammapada, in the chapter Chitta, so the state of the mind. So the first stanza goes I only refer to 2 lines called Pandanang chapalang chittang durakhang dunnivaraya. So pandanang is flickering. Mind is always, if you look at a flame, the flickering of the flame is noticeable when you see it flickers when there's a breeze, or it flickers depending on the condition of the perhaps oil or wax that it is burning on. So the flame is always like this. So either the wind will let it blow, or the nature of the content, wax, oil, whatever it is, that will also make the type of glow and of the flame. So the mind is like that as well. It is flickering. It's very it's very shaky. It's wavy, and perhaps those who have actually been advised to do meditation is simply because of the reality that our mind cannot actually be, as I said, at one point or be in the focused point. Sometimes it is even trying to get the balance. So the mindfulness is quite important from that angle. Chapalang is fickle mind. It's always looking for interests. It's always seeking something to engage with. So the word chapala in Sanskrit, Pali, or even in some other Asian languages, we see that the wandering mind is always sometimes given that word chapala, or even a person who is perhaps naughty in a sense physically, or even our mind becomes sometimes naughty in a sense it is jumping from one object to another. So the nature of a monkey is chapala. So sometimes you might have seen the word being used, monkey mind, chapalang chit. So monkey mind it's always looking for excitement. So imagine a monkey on a branch of a tree, always jumping up and down, swinging and looking for things, plucking leaves, breaking things, throwing away if they don't like, and engaging with it when it likes more. And there is this sort of continuous seeking. Now this is perhaps sometimes our minds as well. It seeks for some entertainment, and that's where the nature of wandering is quite important to notice. Durakham, it's hard to guard. You can't guard the mind because it is immaterial. Mind is very hard. If it was a body, you could tie the body, glue the body to a chair or something. But the mind is within this frame of the body, within this body phenomena. Mind is separate. I always say mind is not the brain. Mind is within the body, and it has nothing physical. Because it is immaterial, you cannot lock it, you cannot trap it, you cannot pull by magnetic force, you cannot apply something to it to change, unless you rein the mind yourself by the mind itself. So it's like giving the mind a job to do. You have to do something. So that's why objects of meditation come into the scene here. You have to give the mind a particular job to do, and from there is where you develop this concentration. And as you develop the concentration, you then notice how naughty the mind is. So when a mind is wandering, people give up meditation. Don't do that. That is because you are then realizing how naughty the mind is, or the nature of the mind is wandering. It is difficult to guard, but the training, because the word contemplation or the word bhavana, meditation itself, is about that training that you give to the mind. So that's why some of you must have heard many teachers saying, don't expect a perfect session, because you can't expect. You just have to go with the flow. You have to try hard, obviously. You have to commit yourself. You have to have dedication. You have to have a continuous practice. As much as athletes train themselves physically every day, if you are to work on the mind, you got to have that determination. You have to do it every day. You have to work on it every day. Working on it once a week or once a month, you cannot expect, because that untrained mind, as soon as you sit down, as soon as you close your eyes, mind goes in an instant format somewhere else. Dunnivarayang is very difficult to control, very difficult to control. That stage is, an untrained mind is very difficult to control. Because as I've always been saying, as soon as you close your mind, imagine the flickering mind, the wind will blow it, so will the content of the candle or lamp will also make it flicker. So we are talking about two significant stages of meditation here. That means the flame gets conditioned. Conditioned by what? Conditioned by the external objects. They seek attention, or the internal wants something, so then they look for things. But initially there's something that sparks it. So that when the attention is coming to the mind, when there is something coming to the mind completely engages it with some sort of attention. So I speak of the channels: seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, sensing in the body, and then the sixth one is the mind. So 5 senses and the mind. There is nowhere the mind can be apart from those 6 senses. Those are the 6 platforms where this mind starts dancing. The mind starts being still, so you can actually then see that when there is something externally, then what happens is it stirs up what's inside. So something that you see gets stirred up. There is this sort of magnetic connection, and then something happens. If you're not mindful, then the process is lost. So you can lost means you don't notice the process. So when it is stirred up with something, so there's a connection that's taking place. So now it's getting conditioned from external, and then the internal either attachment or the internal perhaps ego, or you have this understanding of something that is actually getting woken up, triggered. And so then the mind is now getting conditioned. It is starting to get involved with it. It doesn't wait there. Then it tries to justify. Because mind is that monkey mind wants to do something with it. Because it's taken the leaf of the tree, for example. It's lifted something. So the mind now wants to do something with it. So either to take it or to throw it. So if it is something that the monkey would want it, then they would actually engage with it, eat it, taste it, and then if it is not nice, they will throw it away. Similarly, whatever is coming through these senses, the mind gets involved with it, with the stuff within. So we identify at least 3 roots of greed or hate. So when there is greed, then the judgment comes and says, oh, it's good, I like it, I wish it's longer, or you want to stay with it. When it is not liking, or when it's not tasteful, then you always want the other, and you develop some sort of strategies or plan for something, or just notice it's bad. So avijja, domanassa, those are the 2 categorical state of condition that we can be in. Likes and dislikes, red zone and green zone. And so the stirring takes place for many ways as well, not just those 2. It nurtures as I said last week, it nurtures something within. You sense that there is something that is experiencing this, or some, whether you want to call it the soul in other religions, there is something that is actually getting entertained. So you might want to call ego or personality. It is the big I, the capital uppercase I, and that is what's being that's what is being fed, and that's what's you're trying to deal with it. So the involvement is what is perhaps the problem here. So when you get involved in the objects, we sometimes fail to see that this involvement is taking place. So the concept or the skill of just bare attention, just seeing it, noticing it, is the opposite of sankhata, condition, that's unconditioned. So when you just experience the way it is, rather than getting involved with it, then your mind is not getting conditioned. Because then your mind can easily just not get involved, just see it. It's like that lazy monkey on the tree now. Just notices it, it won't get involved with it, won't go after the tree, the plants or the leaves or even anything. Once it's got nothing to do. Once it's eaten, it will not get involved with it. So the nature of the mind is that it is, we have to understand this as and when it happens. As and when it happens means when it's happening, when the ignition is taking place, or when the connection with the object and your mind through your senses is happening. If you notice that, if you're aware of that, you will then be able to put your mind in that state of unconditioned state. Now this is quite relevant when we talk of the things when our senses are quite awake and wide open. But when you close your eyes and when you even just start to meditate, sometimes you'll also be attracted to thoughts. That is what I said yesterday, even in my reflection, that these thoughts can also be so powerful to get your attention. And sometimes you actually do notice that we fail to actually realize as it's happening, because you get so indulged in that emotion, whether if it is a good one. Even if it is a bad one, sometimes you get so hooked into it because you're trying to sort it out. And suddenly you realize after a few moments, when your mind gets a bit tired of it, oh, I've been meditating, I've been wandering. And sometimes it's okay, those thoughts we have to realize as it is. Even if it is a negative emotion, just realize as it is. So for example, if it was anger, some sort of anger comes to your mind. Sadosang va chittang, sadosang chittang pajanati. So notice that anger is just state of mind. It's nothing physical, it's just a stirred up mind. As I said, the thought now stirred up the anger within you. That stirred up and brought worries within you, brought some sort of likes within oneself, desires. Now that is what the mind is now got hooked into. So if you're not aware, you will indulge yourself in it, you'll continue with the process. But if you are aware of it, as soon as it happens, that's where perhaps the progress of your practice is. If a couple of months ago you only realized after your mind got tired of thinking of it, but when you progress, when you learn how to meditate every day, when you commit yourself, there are times we will just see the mind take the journey. As soon as the mind changes its object, you notice that. So if it is anger, It's not to develop another emotion saying, oh, this is wrong, this is unethical, this is not nice, I'm actually trying to do a nice thing. Don't judge it. As much as we have habits of judging some things that we like in terms of physically that we see, we need to develop a state of mind to do the same for the thoughts. When you see a nice thing, we say it's nice. When you see something that is not nice, you come to a conclusion it's not nice straight away after all the calculations you've made. So we try to use as seeing as it is. We're not actually trying to form opinions of what you see, hear, feel, touch, or sense. So last week I talked about those sensations that we have. So we're not trying to develop some sort of a form of opinion to what you sense through your senses, 5 senses. Similarly, don't form an opinion of the emotion that arises or gets stirred up within. If it is a worry, accept that it's a worry. This is worry. This is fear. This is ignorance. This is greed. This is anger. This is revenge. This is envy. This is jealousy. It's nice that you notice that. That is a very good starting point. Noticing the nature of the mind is very good. At this moment, okay, this is anger. So it is a thought that arises within. It's the nature of the mind. So something triggered it. So something, sometimes even just an emotion comes. So don't get involved with it. As much as when there's a pleasant thought, don't just start watching that film. In your mind, when it's a nice, lovely memory, good times, and you will start, and you'll start wandering and watching that film, trying to, maybe next time there should be this. We have all this ongoing wagon of thoughts coming. Don't get involved with it as much as we don't get involved with what we see when you open our eyes. When you close our eyes, don't get involved with your thoughts. Don't get involved with thoughts either way, whether it's good or bad. Don't even form an opinion. It happened, that was a conditioned state. Something triggered it, it was conditioned state. Because you are not angry when you sat down. You are not worried when you sat down. You are not stressed when you sat down. But something triggers it, and then the mind starts getting a bit heavy. Let it go. Don't get involved with it. Identify what it is, but don't get involved with it. So mindfulness is, even in the mind you have to be mindful, because this is the way the thought processes take you a long journey. And where there is absence of it for a little, because as the monkey gets tired, it will then sit down and then maybe do something, and you realize actually the mind is not worried anymore, or the mind is not angry anymore. Then realize that state. Realize that state. So niddosang va cittang, niddosang cittang pajanati. So there's this absence of anger now. Then it becomes Dhammanupassana. Arise and cease. Becoming and ceasing. Okay? So the absence of it. Similarly with the pain, with the sensation. If there's pain, you notice it, don't get involved with it, don't form opinions, don't say my leg, or don't say this should be this way. Just see it as pain in the body. Don't get involved with it. Just notice it. Well, unless it's critically painful and it's going to affect a lot, then you have to do something. But is it the mind that is just complaining? Because it got bored in looking at the breath. It wanted some other attraction. So we don't know until we learn how to identify and let it go. So mindfulness in the body would be about that. Don't get involved with the body, but observe it as it is. Don't get involved with the sensation, but observe as it is. Notice it. Don't get involved with the thought. Even if it is wanders, don't label it as a bad or wandering moment. Just notice as wandering. Vikkittang va cittang vikkittang te pajanati. This wandering mind is a wandering mind. Let it be. Just notice it. Don't get involved with it. And when you see the absence of those things, is Dhamma Anupassana, establishing mindfulness in the natures. So we introduce, or we give those three things: recognize, release, return. Just recognize it, let it go. Don't get involved. You have to develop that skill. It is difficult. It is an effort. The more you do it, the more you can see how peaceful the mind can be. Okay? So identify, recognize, release, let it go, return. Return where? To your breathing focus. That is where you are. You are giving the mind a job to do. So now let's give our mind a job to do. Look at the breath. Okay? So first we have to then sit straight, balance your body. Posture is really important, because when you feel very relaxed and very lethargic, it might turn to a lethargic state. So you have to have a straight body. So balanced body, so no resting. So balanced on a chair or on the floor if you're sitting cross-legged. So straight back unless you have a physical difficulty. Right hand on your left palm. Eyes gently closed. So, first of all, just develop awareness or be mindful of the way your body is posed, the posture. You have chosen to sit in a way that you feel is best. So, after that, you become determined that you will not move. Be mindful of that posture. You can take a quick scan to see the upright body or the bends of your limbs, just to notice the way your body is. So mindful of that body is giving you the opportunity to notice how still the body is, lack of movement, not restless, peaceful. A quick scan around the room now to see if others are meditating with you, or if you are all alone. Notice the infrastructure in your room. So being mindful of your surrounding, not just in your body, but noticing the stillness around you as well. And gradually bringing your attention to your breath. We know we are breathing, but are we mindful of that breath? We train our mind to see how the breath is taking place in our body. So when you see the in-breath as the breathing takes place, you do the same when you breathe out. Breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. Very simple. There's nothing to like in the breath, so we notice the natures of the breath. There's nothing to dislike in the breath. We just notice the natures of the breath. So if it is a long breath, you notice it's a long breath. It's a short breath, short out breath. If you're completely new, pinpoint the start of the in-breath, 1, continue as 2, and when you stop breathing in, 3. Similarly the other way around, when you breathe out, the starting becomes 1, continuity becomes 2, so 3, 2, 1, 3, so 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. And simply observe the duration. Remember, if your mind wanders, don't get involved, just notice what it is. Seeing, hearing, talking, let it go, come back to breathing. So we'll be meditating for 10 minutes. always remember to stick to the 3 R's: recognize, release, and return should your mind wander. Okay, so that is the end of our session for today. So thank you for joining with us. Do try to practice for about 10 minutes every day. It will be really helpful and really beneficial once we slowly develop our mindfulness. Okay, so do join us again tomorrow at 7 o'clock with our evening worship. We will continue our sessions as normal. So thank you for joining with us so far. Have a very good evening. Take care and stay safe